Sophie clutched the glossy purple brochure, staring at the winking devil cartoon mascot with a mixture of disbelief and disgust.
Demonland? Are you serious, Dad?
She groaned, tossing it onto the kitchen table.
That sounds like the lamest theme park ever.
Her father beamed, entirely missing her sarcasm.
It just opened. Exclusive location in Blackwood Forest. The reviews say it's revolutionary.
Revolutionary how? By scaring little kids with cheap Halloween decorations?
Sophie rolled her eyes. Mom peered over her coffee mug, concern etching her features.
Frank, Demonland doesn't sound very appropriate.
It's just a theme, honey, like pirates or space adventures.
Dad waved dismissively.
Look at their signature rides. Helter Skelter and the River Styx. Creative, right?
Sounds like someone flunked marketing class.
Sophie muttered.
We leave Saturday morning.
Dad announced with finality.
Pack light, we'll be back Sunday night.
Sophie locked eyes with her younger brother Tommy, who shrugged helplessly. There was no arguing with Dad when he got like this. Last summer's wilderness survival weekend had taught them that. Little did they know that Demonland would make a mosquito-infested camping trip seem like paradise. The minivan slowed as they approached the massive wrought iron gates. Sophie pressed her face against the window, her stomach tightening at the sight of the enormous metal devils that formed the entrance. Their eyes glowed red in the gathering dusk, and the words Demonland arched between them in flickering neon script.
Would you look at that craftsmanship? That's attention to detail.
The gates creaked open automatically as they approached, the sound unnaturally loud in the still forest air.
I don't like this,
Mom murmured, clutching her purse tighter. They pulled into a nearly empty parking lot. Only 3 other cars sat scattered across the vast expanse of asphalt.
Not exactly packed, is it?
Sophie observed.
All the more rides for us.
Dad replied cheerfully, already unbuckling his seatbelt. As they stepped out, Sophie noticed the air felt heavy, with an odd sweetness that reminded her of cotton candy, mixed with something earthy and unpleasant. A lone figure in a red uniform and oversized demon mask waited at the entrance plaza.
Welcome to Demonland, where every scream is a scream of joy.
Tommy grabbed Sophie's hand as they approached the gates, his fingers cold against hers.
This place gives me the creeps,
he whispered.
Me too, but it's just for one day. How bad could it be?
As they stepped through the gates, Sophie couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching them from the shadows. Sophie and Tommy cautiously approached the concession booth shaped like a grinning imp. A bored-looking woman with dark circles under her eyes stood behind the counter, methodically wiping a glass with a dirty rag.
2 screaming sodas,
Sophie said, pointing to the bubbling purple liquid in a nearby dispenser. The woman's lips curved into a slow, unnatural smile.
First-time visitors get a special brew.
Her voice had an odd, hollow quality to it. She filled 2 cups with a thick green concoction that smelled like burnt sugar and something metallic. Wisps of vapor curled from the surface.
What is this?
Tommy whispered, eyes wide.
Our famous witch's brew.
The woman answered, pushing the cups toward them.
Everyone drinks it. Don't you want to be like everyone else?
Sophie glanced around. The few other park visitors were indeed holding similar cups, sipping with the same vacant smiles.
I'm not really thirsty,
Sophie said, pushing her cup away slightly. The woman's smile disappeared.
Drink it.
The words came out sharp and cold. Tommy's hand trembled as he lifted his cup.
Maybe we should...
Put that down,
came a firm voice behind them. Dad had appeared, his jovial expression replaced by concern.
We're not drinking anything here.
The woman's eyes narrowed to slits.
You're making a mistake.
Mom appeared at Dad's side, clutching his arm.
Frank, something's wrong with this place. We need to leave.
But we just got here.
Tommy protested weakly. Sophie watched as the woman behind the counter slowly placed both hands flat on the surface, her fingernails lengthening into sharp, dark points.
Nobody leaves without trying our special brew,
the woman hissed. Dad moved with surprising speed, positioning himself between us and the concession worker.
Kids, get behind me,
he ordered, his voice tight with fear. The woman's nails had fully transformed into black talons, scraping against the counter with a sound like metal on slate.
Your choice,
she hissed, her face contorting into something inhuman.
But you can't protect them forever.
Mom grabbed Tommy and me, pulling us backward.
Frank, we need to leave now.
The woman's mouth stretched into an impossible grin, revealing rows of needle-like teeth.
Don't you understand? Nobody leaves without becoming part of the family.
As she spoke, I noticed the other park visitors turning toward us. Their vacant smiles remained fixed, but their movements became more purposeful, surrounding us in a loose circle.
Run!
Dad shouted, shoving us toward a gap in the circle. We bolted, the shuffling visitors lurching after us with surprising speed. As we ran, the park seemed to shift around us, rides growing taller, colors becoming more vivid, sounds distorting into painful frequencies.
The exit.
Mom gasped, pointing toward the gates we'd entered through. But when we reached them, they were gone, replaced by a solid wall of twisted metal.
Welcome to the real Demon Land. You're just in time for the unveiling.
Dad backed away from the wall of twisted metal, his face ashen in the unnatural light.
There has to be another way out,
he muttered, scanning the perimeter of the park.
Look,
Tommy pointed to a small guardhouse nestled between two twisted rides.
maybe there's a security phone or something.
We hurried toward it, the shuffling park visitors still trailing behind us with their vacant smiles. Inside, we found an empty desk with a flickering computer monitor.
Thank God.
Mom breathed, reaching for the telephone on the desk. Her relief crumbled as she lifted the receiver.
It's not connected to anything.
The computer screen suddenly came to life, displaying a map of the park with a pulsing red dot marked, "You are here."
See?
Dad forced a smile.
We're safe here for a moment. We can figure this out.
The map began to change, zooming out to show not just Demon Land, but the surrounding forest, the highway beyond, then the entire state.
Frank, look at this.
Mom clutched my shoulder. Red dots were appearing everywhere. In towns, along highways, spreading like a virus across the map.
Welcome to our franchise expansion,
Came a voice from the doorway. The concession worker stood there, her needle teeth gleaming.
You're not trapped in Demon Land. Demon Land is everywhere.
Tommy, Mom, and I stared at the concession worker in horror. The words hung in the air. Demon Land is everywhere.
You're lying, Dad said, his voice quivering. This is just part of the experience.
Oh, we're quite real, Mr. Peters. Your family isn't the first to discover our little secret.
She stepped into the guardhouse, the door swinging shut behind her. The computer screen continued to pulse with red dots, spreading across the map like a disease.
What are those dots?
I whispered.
New locations.
She replied, tapping a long finger against the screen.
Every dot is a new playground. Streets, schools, shopping malls, all becoming part of our franchise.
Mom clutched Dad's arm.
Frank, we need to get out of here, now.
The worker's eyes flashed.
But the fun's just beginning. The rides are waiting, especially for the children.
Tommy moved closer to me, trembling.
I don't want to play anymore.
Neither do I.
I said, scanning the small room for anything we could use as a weapon. Dad suddenly lunged forward, shoving the worker aside.
Run!
We burst through the door, back into the nightmare that was once just a theme park. I staggered forward, my legs still shaking from our mad dash through the park. Tommy clutched my hand so tightly I could feel his pulse hammering against my palm. Behind us, Dad kept looking over his shoulder, his face pale with fear.
We need to find somewhere to hide. Those things will be after us.
That's when I saw him. A boy crouched behind an abandoned cotton candy stand, watching us with wide, frightened eyes. Unlike the other park workers, he wore no demon mask, just the red uniform shirt with the collar torn.
Hey, please, can you help us?
The boy hesitated, then urgently waved us over.
Quickly, before they see you.
We rushed to him, and he pulled us behind the stand.
My name's Sam. I'm trapped here too. They got my family last week.
What is this place?
Sam's eyes darkened.
It's not a theme park. It's a feeding ground. They process souls here, turn people into those things you saw.
How do you know all this?
I was supposed to be the next attendant.
Sam said, pulling out a strange key from his pocket.
This is how we get out, through the manager's office, but we'll have to survive the park first.
Tommy looked at me, realization dawning in his eyes.
They're coming for all of us, aren't they?
Chapter 8, The Pursuit of Freedom.
We need to move.
Sam urged, pulling us from behind the cotton candy stand.
They'll search this area soon.
We crept along the shadows of abandoned game booths. the distant carnival music a chilling backdrop to our escape. The park had transformed completely, the cheery facades now revealing their sinister nature under the blood-red sky.
What's the plan?
Dad whispered, his arm protectively around Mom. Sam pointed toward a towering structure at the far end of the park.
The manager's office. That key I showed you, it unlocks the back door, the only real exit from this place.
Will we have to fight those things?
We avoid them.
Sam said firmly.
Once they realize you've escaped processing, they'll release the cleanup crew.
As if summoned by his words, a siren wailed across the park. The smiling attendants all stopped, their heads rotating in perfect unison toward our direction.
They know.
Mom gasped. Heavy footsteps approached. Rhythmic, unnatural. From around the corner, a massive figure emerged. Not human, not costume. Something else entirely.
Run!
Sam shouted.
Don't look back.
We bolted across the midway, our freedom only a desperate sprint away. Chapter 9. The Ride of Terror.
Faster!
Sam urged as we raced across the midway, the cleanup crew's thunderous footsteps gaining on us.
There, the service tunnel behind that ride.
Dad pointed toward a massive, twisted roller coaster with carriages shaped like skeletal dragons. We ducked beneath the coaster's support beams, the screams of riders above us providing eerie cover. The ground vibrated with each passing car.
They're still coming.
Mom whispered, her face pale with terror. Sam pulled us into a maintenance doorway.
This is our only chance. The manager's office is at the very top of this coaster. His back door is the only way out of this nightmare.
Tommy clutched my arm.
But we have to ride it to get there?
Sam nodded grimly.
I'm sorry, it's the only way.
We slipped into empty carriages as a train rolled into the loading bay. The safety bars locked with a sickening finality.
Whatever happens,
Sam warned as we began our ascent.
don't let go and don't look into the flames.
The carriage crested the first hill, revealing the entire park sprawled beneath us like an open wound against the crimson sky. Then we plunged into terror. The dragon car screeched to a halt at the highest peak of the coaster. Before us loomed a dark structure perched against the crimson sky, a wooden cabin with smoke-blackened windows.
Now, jump!
Sam commanded, unlocking our safety bars with practiced fingers. We scrambled onto the narrow platform as the empty car plunged down the other side, its metal skeleton screaming against the tracks. The door before us was black oak with a brass nameplate. Park Manager.
This is it. The only way out is through.
Sam whispered, his face ghostly in the firelight.
What will we find in there?
Dad placed a protective arm around Mom.
I don't know. I've never made it this far before.
Sam admitted. Tommy clutched my hand, his small fingers ice cold with fear. Behind us, the thunderous footsteps of the cleanup crew grew louder.
We don't have a choice.
I said, reaching for the doorknob. It turned silently beneath my touch, the door swinging open to reveal absolute darkness within.
Last chance to turn back.
A voice whispered from the shadows. We stepped into the manager's office together. The darkness within the manager's office was absolute. As our eyes adjusted, the silhouette of a figure materialized behind an ornate desk. Motionless. Watching.
Welcome.
The voice was soft, almost gentle.
Few make it this far. You should be proud.
A lamp flickered on, revealing not the monster we expected, but an ordinary man in a business suit. His smile seemed genuine, his eyes kind.
You wish to leave? Of course.
He gestured toward a door behind him marked exit in glowing red letters.
Freedom awaits.
Dad stepped forward cautiously.
What's the catch?
No catch. Demonland has served its purpose. You've provided excellent entertainment data.
Data?
Mom's voice trembled.
Fear responses, survival instincts, quite valuable.
The manager stood.
The exit is yours. You've earned it.
We moved toward the door, hearts pounding with hope.
Sam,
Tommy whispered.
are you coming?
Sam stood frozen, shaking his head.
It can't be this easy.
The manager's smile widened as he pushed the door open, revealing a sun-dappled forest path.
After you.
He said, gesturing us through with a flourish that seemed almost theatrical. The silent, suffocating moment stretched as we stood frozen at the threshold of freedom. The forest path before us seemed too perfect, too inviting.
Mom, Dad, we need to go.
Neither moved. A horrible understanding was dawning on their faces.
It's not real. None of this is real.
The manager's smile widened unnaturally.
Very perceptive, young man.
As we watched, the forest path shimmered, pixelating like a digital image breaking down. The trees dissolved into darkness, revealing only a blank wall with the word "exit" painted in peeling red letters.
You're in a simulation. The entire park.
Dad said slowly, the truth hitting him.
Not quite a simulation. More a processing center. Your fear generates the energy we require.
Mom clutched Dad's arm.
Our children.
Are the most valuable assets. Children's terror is particularly potent, so pure, so concentrated.
Tommy began to cry silently, and the manager's eyes gleamed with satisfaction.
No escape. There never was.
It's not quite a simulation, the manager corrected pleasantly. More a processing center. Your fear generates the energy we require.
You've created a franchise, Dad said, the realization dawning on his face. This isn't just one park.
The manager's smile widened as he tapped a sleek tablet on his desk. A map appeared on the wall behind him, glowing with dozens of red pinpoints scattered across a global map.
We prefer the term experience centers, he said. Currently 43 locations worldwide, with 12 more breaking ground next quarter. The energy crisis requires creative solutions.
Mom's hand flew to her mouth.
All those families.
The perfect renewable resource, the manager continued, his voice businesslike. Fear never depletes. It regenerates, especially in children.
You're monsters, I whispered.
Oh no, Sam, the manager replied, eyes twinkling. We're entrepreneurs. Your father understands business, don't you, sir? Supply and demand. The world demands energy. We supply it.
I want to go home.
You are home now, the manager said softly. All of you. Our newest franchise acquisition.
He turned the tablet around. On the screen was a signed contract, my father's signature at the bottom. Beside it, a single word pulsed. Paid. Run! The gate! We found the gate! I yelled, dragging Maya through the forest's edge toward the road. Dad's minivan sat there like a beacon of hope.
They're following. I can hear them.
The low, rhythmic thudding of the cleanup crew vibrated through the ground beneath our feet. We tumbled into the minivan, slamming the doors shut. We made it, Maya whispered, tears streaming down her dirt-streaked face. We really made it. I collapsed against the seat, my heartbeat thundering in my ears. The familiar smell of Dad's pine air freshener filled my nostrils. Mom's cardigan was draped over the passenger seat. Everything seemed so normal, so safe, until Sam pointed at the dashboard.
What is that?
His voice cracked. A small red emblem was embedded in the plastic, not stuck on, but melded into it. The winking devil face of Demon Land. Then I noticed them everywhere, on the steering wheel, the gear shift, the rearview mirror. My stomach lurched. Josh, Maya whimpered, pointing through the windshield. Down the dark road, headlights approached. But these weren't normal headlights. They glowed with an unmistakable crimson hue.
We didn't escape, Sam whispered. We never left at all.
The red headlights bathed the minivan's interior in a sickly glow as the truck slowed to a stop beside us. We sat frozen, hardly daring to breathe.
It's everywhere, I whispered, my voice barely audible. The logo. It's not just in the park.
The driver, look at the driver.
Through the truck's windshield, I could make out a familiar stretched smile. Those empty, glowing eyes.
We never escaped, Maya sobbed, clutching my arm. We can't ever escape.
The truck driver's door swung open with a metallic groan. A tall figure unfolded itself from the cab, movements unnaturally fluid.
Welcome to your new reality, it called, voice carrying clearly despite the closed windows. The franchise is expanding.
I looked down at my hands, noticing for the first time the faint red glow beginning to outline my fingertips. The same glow emanated from Maya and Sam.
We're changing, Sam whispered.
The driver approached, that terrible smile widening impossibly.
Every town needs a Demon Land, it said, and every Demon Land needs new employees.
I felt my lips beginning to stretch into an involuntary smile.